Double sideband. So as I mentioned that amplitude modulation is not power efficient, it is power inefficient. If you take mu equal to 1, you are actually wasting 67% of total power in carrier, which is not carrying any meaningful information. So what double sideband suppressed carrier does, it takes out the carrier out, and the moment you do that, your modulation efficiency gets 100%, right? And this is the beauty of double sideband suppressed carrier. But it doesn't help or do anything with the bandwidth of the AM signal. Earlier also bandwidth was 2 FM or twice the highest frequency. In double sideband suppressed carrier, you are only suppressing the carrier, which takes away the extra power getting wasted, but still the bandwidth is twice FM or twice W, whatever you want to say, however you want to say. So this is the, you can say, double sideband advantage, and disadvantage is that you cannot get any benefit out of this modulation technique in terms of bandwidth. Bandwidth is still 2 FM, and that is the reason when the next topic will come, it will also take care of power and bandwidth, and the next topic after this would be single sideband. So single sideband reduces your bandwidth by half. It also reduces your power, because anyway you have done that in double sideband. So that's how the whole story flows. You start with amplitude modulation, you take out the carrier, you get double sideband. You take out one sideband, you get single sideband. So till here the story is very amazing. Can you feel it? Now let's put the heading double sideband suppressed carrier modulation. Double sideband. The AM signal was something like this: ST AM equal to AC cos 2 pi FCT plus AC KA M of t cos 2 pi FCT. Okay. So if I take for mu equal to, let's say some other value, 1 by root 2, 0.707. So you recall that carrier, this carrier thing, for this me was taking almost 80% of total power, and the massive signal was using just 20% of total power. Clear? So this reminds us, I did this calculation if you recall when I gave you the formula of modulation efficiency. This totally tells us shouting and saying that amplitude modulation is power inefficient. It's not power efficient, and that's where we need double sidebands. If you recall, total power was power by carrier and power by power in sidebands, right? If I just take this down, make it 0, right, you can clearly see that your efficiency becomes 100%, because whatever power you are having in sideband is totally usable, and you are saying that I will just have that much power. Now the question is that how will you suppress the carrier, right? It's very simple. Will not send it at all. If I make you recall that amplitude modulation was generally just multiplying MT with carrier, but it is us who were sending carrier signal as extra, so that the carrier signal at the receiver end can be extracted from the AM signal itself, the input signal itself. And that is the reason I said in the first of the few sessions, I think in the very first, that carrier signal we are sending that AC cos 2 pi FCT. Now what we'll do, simply we'll say we are not sending you, and then double sideband suppressed carrier gets on the floor. Okay. So please please write a note here for this point. This is very important point. When the carrier is suppressed, sideband and total power are same. Sideband and total power are same. which makes the power efficiency 100%. Okay? Because if you recall the formula of power efficiency, it was sideband power upon carrier power plus sideband power, because this was your total power, and the moment you make this thing as 0, this is 1. If you write it with percentage, it is 100%. So you have proved it as well. So after suppressing carrier signal, and putting k equal to 1, we get the standard time domain equation for DSP suppressed carrier as AC m of t cos 2 pi fct. It is nothing, it is just multiplication of masses into carrier put in the box. This is your time domain equation. Now why I have put k equal to 1? See, this is not AM anymore, right? We are not in AM. AM we needed k equal to 1 so that we can normalize and make sure that it is not over modulated. But here we can make k equal to 1, and since we are not in AM, so we can say k equal to 1 and we have the equation. Okay. Now guys, if this is the time domain equation, we have to also have the frequency domain. So if I say what is frequency domain equation, Fourier transform of this, you know that you will get AC by 2 m of f minus fc plus m of f plus fc. Okay. So how will we generate the spectrum? So we know that spectrum of m of f is this w minus w. We know it long back, right? First lecture I only told you. So what is the spectrum of s of f, guys? Simple. You will take this message thing, shift in the right. You will take this message thing, this spectrum, and shift in the left. So you get what? You get a triangle here, and you get another triangle here. So guys, this is f of fc, this is fc plus w, this is fc minus w, this is minus fc, and the mirror image of this is what? Minus fc plus w, right? And the mirror image of this is minus fc minus w. Did you notice one thing, guys? Here we don't have the impulse here. We don't have this impulse here. Means it is a double sideband suppressed carrier spectrum. We don't have any carrier signal here, right? Correct? Can you see it? And guys, this is known as upper sideband, and this is known as lower sideband. We know that, right? This is also known as lower sideband, and this is known as upper sideband. Please write everything. And you can write this thing. Height of this is AC by 2. Looking at the equation. Clear? Now bandwidth. Bandwidth, again it is same as I said. What is the bandwidth? So bandwidth is, guys, same as AM. It is twice W, or 2 times the highest frequency part of this. So it is again same. Bandwidth has not changed a bit. In DSP SC, power efficiency is 100%, but there is no change in bandwidth as compared to AM signal. As compared to AM signal. Bandwidth is same, still same. Bandwidth is twice W. It is still same. Please write it down. Now what I am going to do, we'll take MT as the single tone modulation. So put that in single tone modulation, DSB suppressed carrier. Okay, single tone modulation of DSB suppressed carrier. Okay, I missed of DSB suppressed carrier. So in this, guys, we'll take M of t equal to AM. We know this drill, we have done so many times, cos 2 pi FMT. So your ST DSB SC will become AC AM cos 2 pi FMT into cos 2 pi FCT. Super easy. Multiply 2, divide by 2. So it will become what? 2 cos A cos B will become what? AC AM by 2. Right? Cos 2 cos A cos A. 2 cos A cos B is what? Cos of A plus B plus cos of A minus B. So it will become cos 2 pi FC plus FMT plus cos 2 pi FC minus FM whole t. This is what it will become, guys. So you know that this will give you 2 impulses and this will give you 2 impulses. We have done so many times. This will give you 1 impulse at FC plus FM at this frequency. This will give you 1 impulse at FC minus FM. So if you take, this is your upper sideband, this is your lower sideband. So let me write. This is your upper sideband and this is your lower sideband. Please write it down, guys. So, if I want to draw this spectrum, see guys, I have told you so many times that when you write these type of long equation, never ever write the Fourier transform of this. Directly jump to the spectrum and how this spectrum will look like. So guys, spectrum will look like this. Frequency domain, FC, there is nothing, but we have an impulse at FC plus FM, upper sideband. We have another impulse at FC minus FM. Okay, and you know that ACM by 2 will become 1 more by 2 because the moment you go into the Fourier transform because of the impulse formula. So it will become ACM by 4. Similarly, it will become ACM by 4. FC ka negative will become minus FC. This mirror image will come here and this mirror will come here. So it is minus FC plus FM. This is minus FC minus FM. This is again same AC AM by 4 and this is also AC AM by 4. Okay. Bandwidth, easy. How much is that, guys? Please tell me. It is twice FM. So bandwidth is twice FM, again same, twice of this highest massive frequency. If it is multi-tone, you will have so many impulses, but you have to take the highest frequency and double it. Okay. What is the power? Yes. So guys, power, how can you find? Simply I told you, right? You can square, square, square and add it. So AC is AM by 4, square it, and how many times you have to add? 1, 2, 3, 4. So multiply by 4, so you get what? And you can always divide by R. There is no problem. If you want to get a normalized power, you have to put antenna resistance equal to 1 ohm. So it is how much? AC square, AM square by 16 into 4, right? So power formula has become AC square, AM square by 4R. Bandwidth, we already know, twice Fn. Please write it down. So if you recall, I wrote AM signal as what? I wrote AM signal as AC cos 2 pi FCT plus AC KAMT cos 2 pi FCT. Actually, modulation means multiplying. So this is that multiplication part where you are multiplying a massive signal with a carrier signal, right? You are multiplying a massive signal with a carrier signal. This is that part. I mentioned in the first session that you are externally adding that carrier. You are actually forcefully sending this carrier so that you can extract carrier at the receiver end to do the demodulation. Now, in double sideband suppressed carrier, what we are going to do, we are going to say, I am not sending you. So you are not putting that extra carrier. You are not adding that extra bit. You are just multiplying this. And that's why when you write double sideband suppressed carrier, you just write AC MT cos 2 pi FCT. You can't see K because I have taken KA as 1. So I think it answers your question, right? So guys, generation of DSP signal, there are two important techniques. First one is balanced modulator, which I am like asking again and again. The another one is ring modulator. This is to generate double sideband suppressed carrier signal. Okay, these two are also known as product modulator, because they are doing the product of massive signal and carrier signal. Okay, so this is known as product modulator. Okay, so what is a modulator? So first let me write this pointer. Any modulator who generates this is the very first point, guys. Any modulator who generates DSP signal, double sideband suppressed carrier signal, is called as product modulator. So even when I say modulator, means product modulator only, and it will always give you which kind of signal? Double sideband suppressed signal. Okay. Now we'll take one at a time and study. So the first one we'll do balanced modulator. Balanced modulator. Guys, balanced modulator is most widely used. Okay, I will explain later when I am done with ring modulator that why this is most widely used. Okay, wait for that time. Let me draw the block diagram. So this is your massive signal going here, and it enters the first AM modulator block. AM modulator, first one. So I'm writing 1. Okay. The same massive signal goes into a phase shift, which Chinmay was saying. It goes into a phase shift, and again it is getting fed into another AM modulator. So please write AM modulator 2. Okay. This modulator is nothing if you don't give the carrier signal. Okay. So we have to give a carrier signal. So we'll give a carrier signal to both of them, which is generated by local oscillator, and it is AC cos 2 pi FCT. So this is MT. The moment you take 180-degree phase shift, it will become minus MT. We'll take the output of A modulator 1 and A modulator 2 and we'll subtract it. So what we do, guys, we take this here and subtract, plus, minus, like this. And the output is double sideband suppressed carrier. Please note it down. Now we'll get into the equation mode, right? We'll get into the equation mode. Okay, we'll get into the equation mode. So what will happen for A modulator 1? So what is the output you get here? Right? So I'm talking about this output. So for A modulator 1, right, you will get what? M of t into AC cos 2 pi FCT, right? And you know that since it is A modulator, you will have one more term which is AC cos 2 pi FCT. Guys, this is an amplitude modulator. So amplitude modulator will always add an extra carrier signal. Don't miss that thing. Okay. Similarly, at A modulator 2, for A modulator 2, your output will look like this. So you get minus M of t AC cos 2 pi FCT plus AC cos 2 pi FCT. Now what you're getting? You're getting 1. This is 1. This is 2. You're actually subtracting 2 from the 1. So you'll get 1 minus 2. And you'll get what? Because AC cos 2 pi FCT cancel each other. And you will get 2 MT, 2 times MT, AC cos 2 pi FCT. And this is nothing, guys. This is TSP, suppressed carrier signal. So as Swati mentioned very correctly that there are two modulators which are like balancing, and they are designed in such a way they are balanced and they cancel the carrier signal. And that's why when somebody asks you that why balanced modulator is called balanced one, because it has two modulators, right? And it is designed in such a way that it cancels the or suppresses the carrier signal. Any question? Please ask now. We're done on the balanced modulator. Good. Now guys, sometime gate will do what? They will put some blocks, and that block will be known as BM. BM is balanced modulator. So what is the job of that block, guys? Whatever coming in that block, balanced modulator, it will take those signal and simply multiply. That's what I say when I was saying that if you have to understand each and every functional block in communication system, you should know that you have balanced modulator, you have AM. AM will do what? You give a message, you give a carrier, you will get AM signal. But if you give a message and carrier to balanced modulator, it will not give you AM signal, it will give you DSP signal, which is just the multiplication of M of t into C of t. Okay. Now put the heading. Second technique, ring modulator. Another question, why is it called ring modulator? Come on. It is called ring modulator because it's a ring of diodes. When I will draw the diagram, you will 100% see that it looks like a ring. Very good, very good. So we are having a transformer here. Okay. With the turns ratio 1:1. So no step up, no step down. Okay. And this is going like this. Getting connected here. And this part is going on the over of it. Getting connected here. Okay. And here you have given the carrier signal, guys, as well as here. So this is your given as carrier. Okay. So guys, if you look at this, and this is your output. Here also turns ratio 1:1. Now guys, if you look at this diagram, it looks little complicated, but if you focus here, this is the ring. Okay, this is the ring, and that's why it is called as ring modulator. So why it is called a ring modulator? Because it is a ring. It's a ring of 4 diodes. Please write it down. Please draw it. And here we have M of t, master signal. Turns ratio 1:1. No step up, no step down. Clear, guys? So can you see a ring there? Can you see a ring, a square ring, which we can actually wear it? Can you see it, guys? Yes or no? Please respond. Let me draw the diagram which we are going to analyze. Okay? M of t we have given with the carrier signal. So it remains same, a little bit of change. And turns ratio is same, 1:1. 1:1. Please draw it. Done? Okay. Now guys, I'm going to draw the carrier signal. It is not our conventional carrier signal. It is a little different. It is a square wave, CT. So it is something like this. You can call it as V minus V. This is 0. Now guys, these diodes polarity is being controlled by the carrier polarity. Correct now? So diode will be forward bias or reverse bias. It totally depends on the carrier. If it is positive, it will be positive cycle. It will be forward bias. If it is negative cycle, these two will be forward biased, right? So at a time, only a pair of diodes will be forward biased and a pair of diodes will be reverse biased. So you can clearly see that, right? Now, you also know that if there is no MT, right, the output will also be 0. Suppose MT is equal to 0, then output is 0, right? Clear? I hope so. At any point, if you get any question, please ask. Okay? Now, let's go case by case. But before that, write that point. 4 diodes are completely controlled by the carrier polarity Please write down this. Case 1, when carrier polarity is positive. So this is case 1, when carrier polarity is positive. Okay. So what will happen when the carrier polarity is positive? So guys, you need to understand what will happen, that if it is positive means this is positive and this is negative, right? So if this is positive, this is positive, this is positive. If this is negative, this is negative, this is negative. Positive, negative, this diode is forward bias, this diode is also forward bias, but this is negative and this is positive and this is coming as, you can clearly see this is coming as negative, right? This is coming as negative and this is coming as positive. So diode D1, D2 to forward bias, diode D3, D4 are reverse bias. No confusion. So let me write, diode D1 and D2 are forward biased. D3, D4 are reverse biased. And given the fact that these diodes are ideal diodes, that's why it will be short circuit, just connecting by wire, and reverse bias means open circuit, means it is behaving like a switch, because since it's an ideal diode. So equivalent circuit will look like this, guys. So equivalent circuit will look like this. So this is empty, turns ratio 1:1. So this is empty, and the output is also empty. No problem? Because anyway this is plus, right? So output is also empty. There's no problem. Correct, guys? Because diode D1, D2 is short circuited, the rest of them they are open circuited. So it is 1:1, 1:1, empty. All diodes are forward biased, so output is empty. So in this case, case 1, output is empty. Output is empty. Now, case 2. Carrier polarity is negative. Carrier polarity is negative. Then what will happen? Then you know that it will reverse. Diode D1, D2 will be reverse biased. So you know how it is happening. Diode D1 and D2 are reverse biased. I'm writing in short, guys, just in interest of time. And D3 and D4 are forward biased. F dot B dot forward biased. This is open circuit this time, and this is short circuit. Okay. Now how is it happening? I can explain, don't worry. So let me take another color, so that I have to take another color. Now this time this is minus. This is minus, this is plus. So this is plus, this is plus, this is minus, this is minus, this is minus. Minus on the P side, plus on the N side, reverse bias. Minus on this side, plus on this side, reverse bias. This is plus and this is minus, and similarly this is plus and this is minus. That's why these two are forward biased. Clear, guys? So now it will not be empty. It will be what? It will become, output will come. So output here, M of t, if it is M of t here, this time it will become minus M of t. So output is minus M of t. Okay? So I'm talking when the output M of t is M of t. So input is M of t. So output has changed this time. It has become minus M of t. Earlier it was M of t when empty. Now it is minus empty when still it is input is empty. Don't tell me later that, sir, if I input put minus empty, then what will happen? Then accordingly it will also change. So don't worry. Okay? Now the diagram. The most important tricky part is to draw the diagram. So for that, I will take this out. I hope you are done on this. So first waveform you are looking at is of M of t. So starts like this, okay, and finishes like this. Is it symmetric? Now the carrier. Okay, so we should have support lines. So what is the support line, guys? Support line is something like this. These zero crossing points are important. That's why you can see me drawing dotted lines. Anyway, it is there, right? Now on this, on the top of this, right? So I can say V, you can say minus V, correct? Let's do it. So I will be patient here and draw the waveforms we want. So this is your CT, empty CT, and the final output. So I have to go a little down. I know that is struggle, but I have to. This is your output. Okay. First thing that we should do is this. A kind of envelope thing that you should always draw. This is a trick I am making you guys learn. So when you become teacher down the line, you should know how to draw the diagram, right? Some of you might be teacher, might want to be teacher down the line. So I've just taken the m of t and the minus m of t and did the envelope. Can you see it, guys? So this is m of t, the below part is a minus m of t. Can you see it? Now look at the beauty of this. Look at the beauty of this. What I'm going to do, I'm also going to draw the support lines of this. I know it looks little hard, little difficult to draw, putting so many support lines, but that's how you become a good teacher, okay? You have to put that hard efforts to make your student understand everything. So when you become a teacher, don't be lazy, right? Do this, it's okay. Now remember, when the carrier polarity is positive and masses is positive, you get m of t. Correct? Let me write. So I'm going to make a table m of t, c of t. Right? I should write reverse, not m of t first. Let me write c of t first. C of t, m of t. Now remember, m of t positive, m of t is m of t. Sorry, Ct is positive, m of t. Ct is negative, minus m of t. Right? When you give m of t. But when you give minus of m of t, it will also change. So guys, the third table is if you give the negative polarity of masses, a minus m of t, it will become minus m of t and it will become plus m of t. So it's very simple. Minus into minus is plus, plus into minus is minus, minus into plus is minus, plus into plus is plus. Simple. You know the maths. Now you know that so till here, see, till here, masses is positive. So it depends on the polarity of carrier. If the carrier is negative, this is minus mt. So what is going to happen? You will get this, right? And then you will get this. Then you will get this. I'm making it dark. So guys, I'm doing this. This you will get. So because this is, guys, see what? If it is positive, you get mt. This is positive, positive. So let me write positive, 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 positive. Correct? So you get this line, right? And then you also get this. So you get this. Why I'm shading, there's a reason for that. Let me do this. Okay? Then this is positive, but masses is negative. So you will get what? Plus into minus is minus, guys. Don't miss on that. Then plus into minus is minus. You will get this. Get this. Okay. So let me go through this and put some other color. Okay. So you get this output. It will not come complete, guys. Okay. It will just the top part. Sorry, guys. It will just the top part. Please change it. So you will get mt plus mt, not the negative part. Okay. So please change it. Okay. So this is you will get, and then you will get this. Yes. Alternate. Then you will get this. Okay. Similarly, so you are getting, guys, this is plus and this is mt plus, you will get this part. There is nothing below, right? So you will not get the below part, okay? So that is a typo from my side. I have changed it. So you will get this part, guys. You will get this part because there is nothing below, right? So you will not get below. So you will get this part. So let me shade it so that it will look nice. I know it little takes time, but it's okay. I have a marker, I can quickly do this and you will be enjoying the amazing output. You can do this exercise with a CR in your college. Ask your professor, he will do it. Okay, for you guys. And similarly, you will get like this here. And then this side. Okay, quickly let me fill. And then this side. Now, what will happen? When you are doing minus and message is plus, plus into minus will get negative. So this is like this. So I'll let him fill in here like this. And similarly here, have patience guys, please. And I will show you the magic and then we'll say, wow, this is great, sir. Just have patience, don't worry. So you can clearly see I'm up to something. Can you see it, guys? This is how you'll get it, guys. Now you can clearly see the beauty of this. The black one, I'm writing diode D1 and D2 are forward biased. And wherever you see blue one, it means diode D3 and D4 are reverse biased. Amazing, right? Did you see how you are getting it? Now, if I ask you, did you notice something? Did you notice something? Anyone in this session? Did you notice something happened? There is a phase reversal which is happening when there is a zero crossing. See here, guys. See, you are supposed to go like this. You are supposed to go like this, but you are forced to be on the negative side. Can you see the phase reversal, guys? Right? Sorry. That is also forward bias. Not reverse bias. Obviously, you are getting forward bias, then you are getting this will be also forward bias whenever you see blue one. Good. So I guess we are good for ring modulator. And you know what, guys, this is a bulky circuit, that's why people don't use it. And that's why when I said people use balance modulator, because that is not that complex. It's a bulky circuit, you have so many diodes, right? It's a ring of 4 diodes, so nobody tries to use it as compared to balance modulator. Great. Now what is the disadvantage of this? Please write. Is bulky in nature due to two center tapped transformer. Hence it is not widely used. Hence it is not widely used. So guys, this is all about generation of DSP suppressed carrier signal. Now put another heading, demodulation of DSP SC signal. Okay. So guys, in DSP suppressed carrier signal, we cannot use envelope detector. You know why? Because the moment you use envelope detector, you will get mod of empty. Because did you see, right? AM signal is going well below the T axis. It is going in the negative. So if you put an envelope detector, it will just detect this part, which is mod of empty. So we cannot use envelope detector. So we are left with what? We are only left with the choice of synchronous detector. So let me write this point which I just said. When DSP signal is passed through an envelope detector, the output is modulus of empty, that is mod empty. Okay. So we need to use synchronous detector. Please write this down. Very important point. So you just saw how does a DSP-SC signal looks like, right? Let me redraw quickly. So it looks like something like this. Not that easy to draw, guys. So I'm like doing this for long, so I can draw it quickly. Now you just imagine if you are putting this thing into an envelope detector, what will happen? It will track the peaks. It will track this, but it will not go down, so it will track this. So finally, the output will look like this. So output will look like this. And this is not empty, actually this is mod of empty. Okay, this is the output. Please write it down, guys. Guys, so synchronous detector follows the same idea, you know that. So we'll take a DSP signal. Synchronous detector follows the same idea, which you have seen for AM. The input will be DSP signal, right? When multiply the DSP signal with a carrier, which is generated by using a local oscillator. Okay, same carrier AC cos 2 pi FCT, and the output of this will goes into a low pass filter. Okay, and then we'll get the final output of the low pass filter. The output low pass filter. So let's do the maths. So what is DSP signal? We know that it is equal to AC MT cos 2 pi FCT, and you are multiplying this signal with another AC cos 2 pi FCT. So using the maths, you know, you get AC square MT cos square 2 pi FCT, and you write AC square MT by 2 1 plus cos 4 pi FCT. And you know that this gives you how much frequency? Twice FCT, and the low pass filter cutoff frequency is equal to W, which is the massive frequency ka highest component. So the output of this will be AC square by 2 MT. You already know this. Okay. Now the same problem of phase shift. So that is problem, or you can say it as disadvantage. What is that problem? If CT equal to AC cos 2 pi FCT plus phi, it has a phase shift. Then synchronous detector is not synchronized, right? Synchronous detector is called synchronous detector because it is having same phase shift, right? If it is 0 degree, other receiver side should be also 0 degree. So there should not be actually any phase shift, okay? That's why it is called synchronous. But in case it is having a phase shift, then the output of low pass filter will change to same AC square by 2 MT cos phi, and you know all those stuff. That if phi is equal to 90 degree, then no modulation. It is known as the output alpha will be 0, and it is known as quadrature null effect in DSP. Same funda, guys. Quadrature null effect. It was asked in GATE 2000. The amplitude modulated waveform ST equal to ACT, AC1 plus KMT cos omega CT is fed to an ideal envelope detector. The maximum magnitude of KMT is greater than 1. Which of the following could be the detector output? Come on. It's a very good question. Yes, we can take it again. So guys, meanwhile I do this question. Amplitude modulated waveform is fed to an ideal envelope detector. The maximum magnitude of KMT is greater than 1. So if you recall, for this question number 12, I only said that KMT magnitude should not be more than 1. If it is more than 1, it implies that it is over modulated because mu is also greater than 1. And if it is over modulated, the output will be, output of envelope detector will not be just AC1 plus KMT. Actually, it will be, it's a very conceptual question, it will be AC1 plus KAMT ka mod. Those strips which you saw, blue and the black color, is just not empty. It is product of MT and CT. You are right. Let's do question number 13. I think you can do in Hawa mein. Look at that, question number 13, guys. A modulated signal is given by S of t, m1 cos 2 pi fct plus m2 t sin 2 pi fct, where the baseband signal m1t and m2t have bandwidth of 10 kilohertz and 15 kilohertz. Okay. The bandwidth of the modulated signal in kilohertz. What is the answer? Okay, very good, guys. Now, if you recall, M1T and M2T have different bandwidths, 10 and 15. Which one will take? Obviously, we'll take the maximum. So that's what you have done because you've got the right answer. Let's say FM1 is 10, FM2 is 15. So what is the bandwidth? It is twice, maximum is 15, answer is 30 kilohertz. Very good, guys. Option D. Option D. Okay.